Just to assure everybody that I'm not sick and demented, the plot synopsis to this movie is not very intriguing in the slightest. But I enjoyed it. So, that reassurance you can just flush down the toilet. Let's get into this. So, Sleepaway Camp is a 1983 slasher movie that stars Felissa Rose and is by far one of my favorites. And we should already know why it's one of my favorites, because of the ending. This movie is a cult classic, and in my mind, it's right up there with Jaws. Now, I know that Jaws is an artsy-fartsy kind of movie, and, just very arty, I should say. It's art. So is this. Because the way I look at it is, if the statue of David has a penis and it's considered art, what's the difference between the statue of David and this? And, well, we're going to get into that at the end. But for right now, the plot for Sleepaway Camp, is some kids go to camp and they die in the hands of somebody else. And it is kind of predictable. You already know who's going around killing people. As soon as the first murder happens, you already know who it is. But what makes this movie so great is just how over the top the acting is at times, and how much tension is built throughout this whole movie, because you got Felissa Rose's character. She's shy. She doesn't talk. Getting picked on mainly by the two characters, Meg and Judy, who are a bunch of bitches, going around throwing her in the lake, telling her she can't talk to her buddy there, or her boyfriend Paul. And you have her cousin Ricky, who's very protective of her. I was gonna say he, but Ricky is very protective of Angela, and there is quite a bit of swearing in this movie, and what I like about it as well, I like how the swearing comes from the kids, and it makes it feel so real, because there's a lot of swearing coming from these kids, and that's how kids normally, that kids do use that kind of language. They do use language like fuck and cock and prick and shit like that. I've heard it firsthand at a camp that I went to once or twice, I can't remember. I'm just glad that my camp experiences never turned out like this, because, I enjoy life too much to want to die. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Let's get back onto the topic of Sleepaway Camp. So you got Ricky being protective over Angela. Angela kind of has it's the other way around. Paul has a crush on Angela. Angela finally starts talking, and this and that and the other. They start getting involved. Yes, they are getting involved. That kind of sounded weird for a minute, but I didn't mean it like that. But, yeah, so she has enough of it, and it all starts with, what's his name? Big fat ass there in the kitchen cooking and whatnot, taking her into there, trying to find her something to eat, and he decides he wants to take his belt off for whatever reason. I guess it's because he's a pedophile, and that's another thing. It's like these people that work with this guy, the chef or whoever, they know he's a pedophile, but yet somehow he's still employed with this camp. Like, that's kind of where I have to suspend my disbelief a little bit, because if they know he's a pedophile, they're not going to let him work there. I mean, come on. A place full of children, and you got a pedophile running around. Awesome. Anywho, Angela takes matters into her own hands and pushes hot water on him. She takes her hands and pushes his ass into the thing, and he's holding on there, offering to make her an ice cream sundae because to get her to get him down and all the water falls, and then the way the effects were. Tom Savini wasn't. I'm thinking of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre too, but This almost felt like this almost felt like Tom Savini was on the set of this movie, because the way that skin looked when it was burnt, it looked real. It really looked real. I want to know how they did that. I don't know, like maybe they had something shooting up from the floor or something. I don't know. I don't know. But then we move on, and we see normal camp activities where they're playing baseball and pulling pranks on one another, and they're playing tennis and going swimming, going to social, and at the social event, it's not really an event, it's just they go to this like kind of building or wherever, and they have social time there, and Angela's sitting there by herself, and these two kids, they come up to Angela and start tormenting her, and then Ricky and his buddy walk in. Paul, I think is what his name was. They come walking in. Then Ricky wants to exchange words with the two kids, and then things escalate very quickly, and then they get into a fight. Everybody's just standing around watching, this and that and the other, and then Ricky starts cussing, like I mentioned earlier, and he gets thrown out, and his buddy Paul stays. He was involved in the fight as well. I don't understand how he got to stay and Ricky didn't, but like I said, it's a movie. Suspended disbelief a little bit. He finally gets Angela to talk for the first time, and she says goodnight or goodbye or something. So yeah, then they start kind of connecting, and Paul develops a little crush and all that, and Angela decides she wants to go out to the lake and kill somebody. So she follows the kid, the kid in the black shirt. I think it was the guy with, like, I don't know if he had on like a Motley Crue t-shirt or something. He had something on of that sort, and that kid takes a girl out on the lake in a canoe, and he flips it over because he's being a jackass trying to piss her off. I guess he was trying to have sex with this girl, but doing stupid shit to piss a girl off is not how you have sex with a girl. So he's under the canoe, and then this head pops up and drowns him. So, yeah, Angela has struck again, and then she keeps striking more and more. And I think my favorite kill in the movie is when, I don't know, it's either the shower kill or it's the beehive kill. That kill, the beehive kill, that was really creative. Like a shower kill, where have we seen that before? We've seen that a lot of different places. But the beehive kill, I've never seen a movie where somebody has locked somebody in a bathroom stall and then take a beehive and put it on a stick and then stick it in the window of the stall that he's in, and then the bees, do their thing. I've never seen that before. That blew my mind. I've never seen that in any kind of Friday the 13th or Halloween or any kind of slasher. I've never seen it in like The Burning or anything. I've never seen it before. It's just so different. That has got to be one of my all-time favorite slasher movie kills. So, and what I don't understand about that scene is I don't get why the kid couldn't have just crawled under. I get it, there's all kinds of piss and shit all over the floor, but you're just going to have to grow a pair and deal with it, Like, is it your life or your dignity? Like, which one are you wanting to hold on to longer? It's not like you have to tell anybody that you crawled on the floor filled with piss and shit. Like, I don't know. There's some things in here that do defy logic, and that's one of them. And if I happen to think of more, I'll definitely bring them up. If I don't sweat it. It's not like I'm unintelligent and don't know how to review a film. But yeah, that's all the good stuff about it. If I'm gonna get into some cons, I want to say I don't like Aunt Martha. I know she's only in the movie for 5 minutes total. She has a total of 5 minutes of screen time. She just, all of the other characters in this movie are really down to earth, and they're not way out into outer space or anything. Aunt Martha is. She's weird. Her Mary Poppins looking ass. I don't know. Not my favorite character. Just felt out of place. Didn't feel like she belonged in the movie. I get it. The setup for the plot twist at the end, I can kind of see where somebody's coming from. I was like, okay, well, somebody as weird as her could have forced her to do what she did prior to all of the events that happened in the movie. But at the same time, I think it would have been better if they just made somebody normal and not out of the ordinary or anything. That would have been a lot more scary than some weird Mary Poppins on meth or something. That just doesn't, it doesn't mix well with me. But that's really my only complaint with this movie. Everything else about this movie is good, other than the things that defy logic. But you know, a cheap '80s slasher movie, of course, there's going to be stuff that defies logic. Yeah, it's just so good. All of the acting is bad, other than Felissa Rose's and her cousin. Her cousin in the movie's acting, like not her cousin in real life, but her cousin in the movie. His acting was pretty good too. He was very convincing when it came to some hothead who got mad every time the other kids would pick on her cousin because she's shy, and that was very convincing, and I really enjoyed his performance. But all of the other actors were not good at all. They were very over the top, and either they were over the top or they weren't convincing. And I guess to a degree that was the point. You know, it wasn't really meant to be taken too seriously. But overall, the acting is not all that great. Now we get into the cinematography. All of the shots are perfect. My favorite shot, other than the end shot, that made me sound kind of. Let me go back. Let's backtrack a little bit. My favorite shot is the trees at the beginning. I love the way they shoot the trees at the beginning, because it almost convinces me that the trees are the killer. You know, they've got all of these trees playing, and then they got this really loud, dramatic music playing. I was almost convinced that the trees were indeed the killer. Not really. That was just me being a prick. Go ahead and be serious for a minute. But I'm gonna talk about the end and then talk about my favorite shot. At the end, you find out why Aunt Martha, what significance she served to the plot, and well, in that boating accident at the beginning, Angela was there, but Angela wasn't Angela. Angela was Peter, and I think that was his name, Peter or Thomas or something. I don't remember, but Angela, the real Angela, died in that boat crash, and Peter, or Thomas, or whatever the hell his name is, was taken in by Aunt Martha, and Aunt Martha already had a boy, so he wanted to make Peter a girl, so he made her get a sex change. Well, not necessarily, because he still had a pee-pee, but, that was just very, that when I first saw this film, that caught me by surprise. I was not expecting that. I never even heard of this film the first time I saw it. I just came across it on YouTube. I was like, oh, this looks interesting and all that. And sure enough, it was. That ending, the way it ended, especially when Angela did that kind of face, that got to me. That really, really got in my mind. I couldn't sleep because of that face. That was one of the creepiest faces I've ever seen. When I watched this the other night for the first time in 3 years, it got to me again. This is one movie that truly can get to me. It gets to me more than The Conjuring does, and The Conjuring got to me for months. This one had more of an effect on me, especially seeing a chick with a dick. I've visited many porn sites, and I've never came across chicks with dicks, as Ted 2 would say. But I hope everybody liked the review. That's really it. I didn't want to spoil it too much, so I went ahead and just spoiled the ending for you. I will put a disclaimer, so that way if nobody's seen the movie, then they won't be into any surprises. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope everybody liked it. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we're out.